Welcome to Detoxicity. By men, about men, for everyone. This is a podcast that's attempting to remix the narrative around masculinity, and I thank you for listening and supporting. If you're new to the podcast, I hope you check out the archive, which contains over 150 episodes. I'm always happy when someone reaches out with a friendly word or constructive criticism, so never hesitate to hit me up either via IG at DetoxPodGuy or via email, detoxpod@gmail.com. You can also contact me if you're interested in being a guest on the show or if you know someone who might be a good guest for the show. There's also a Detoxicity Patreon. Patrons get episodes 1 week early, plus I will mail you a cool DetoxPod fridge magnet. Go to bit.ly/DetoxPodPlus to find out more. Oh, one more thing. Late last year, I completed my certification courses, and I am now a life and relationship coach. I'm taking clients. Go to mike-joseph.com and book a free consultation. Thanks for listening. I really do appreciate you. Nore Davis is an actor, a writer, and a stand-up comedian originally from Yonkers, New York. Nore has appeared in various comedy shows, including Last Week Tonight, Inside Amy Schumer, Succession, and many others. His current film, it's called Element, a solo film show. It is available on noredavis.com. I strongly suggest that you watch it. It is also available in audio form on any streaming service that you can think of. Anyway, Nore and I sat down to talk about some fairly heavy shit. We talk about a lot of inner child work and going to therapy. We talk about parental loss. Nore lost his mother not too long ago. We do talk about some particularly sensitive topics such as domestic violence and suicide, so consider this your trigger warning, but it is a fantastic conversation. Nore is very vulnerable, very open, and clearly doing a lot of work on himself. So everybody, give a warm welcome to Mr. Nore Davis.
But it's just good the brother know his shit, and he's about the healing shit. Cause I really be feeling a unicorn out here, man. Like, I know there's a big market of like brothers that are like emotionally involved in their feelings. You know, the opposite of the Mob Deep, real niggas who ain't got no feelings. How about the ones that do got feelings? We do. Matter of fact, you got feelings, nigga. Stop acting like you don't.
Well, that's the whole thing. I was thinking about that today. I was listening to Biggie or something, and actually, no, I was looking at Sam J's Instagram, and it was a brother who's like, what do you know about masculinity? Because you're a chick trying to act like a dude, blah, blah, blah. People are soft nowadays and all this other bullshit. And I'm like, yo, you think of the hardest people out there. You think of the rap that I grew up with in the 90s and shit. And even now, with like Drake and Kendrick, is these hard-ass dudes all in their feelings about shit.
Yep.
That's all that shit is. So it's crazy.
It's nothing but it gets so deeper because this homophobic black masculinity thing that has birthed out of slavery, right? And Christianity. I mean, that's a whole oh man, when will my people be released from it? And the damage that it has done, and that we don't even recognize it, and then we can't even feel like we can address it because we feel like we're both in this gladiator barrel, but in reality we're all in this fucking barrel, and white people, all of them. We all in here. It's hierarchy.
Yeah. And the thing is, I'm gay, so I feel like I already got to step through minefields to, you know, even relate to my brothers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even if I could tell people, like, I grew up in Brooklyn, blah, 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 all this stuff, and then people still look at you funny. And it's like, nah, I came from the same place you did. I came up the same way that you did. And yeah, man, I wish that a lot of my people could come out of the sunken place.
Oh man, sunken shit. Man, nigga, like depths of hell sunk. It's poor things. I feel for us, and I can't even imagine what you went through. And you don't even come off like the gay, you know, as they show, right? But it's just such this marketing category that's even bullshit. Where I can see niggas like, oh, word, you all like, what the fuck, like. Bro, none of it matters, man. Love is love, but again, they came with a Bible and a gun, baby.
Yep. Yep.
This is what he said. What do you mean? That story that every white nigga wrote?
Yep.
Nah, bro, I experienced Jesus and another nigga. Like, nah, this is how it went down, nigga. That's all. I'm like,
The crazy shit is that people don't understand, and some members of my family are super crispy Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Oh yeah.
y'all don't understand. This shit was written to keep y'all in place.
Like, what are we talking about, man? This is so good, man. Shout out to your podcast, man. Fuck yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm Nore Davis. What's up, y'all?
Thank you for introducing. Because usually the way I start is by having the guests introduce themselves. So you didn't even need my introduction for that.
Man,
So
we right into it. Into it. I'm vibing with you, brother.
Yeah.
We got it.
Yeah. I was listening to Element today.
I gotta get you a link so you can watch the video too, because it's the movie. And I'm almost done with the tour. I have one in DC Sunday. When's this podcast come out?
It'll be out by then.
Fine. Well, then, if people are listening now, it's Element, the movie, a solo show film. The film will be available on NoreDavis.com, and you can purchase it for $10. I'm bringing that shit back to Blockbuster, baby.
And one of the funniest things, and you talk about it as soon as like you get on the mic, is that you recorded that the day of the earthquake. Well, earthquakes, because we had plural.
Earthquakes. Yeah. Yup. That shit was, like I said, the trailer. That's the trailer for the eclipse. It was right after it, bro. Like, and yeah, we even went through that and nothing happened. The earth just shook for a little bit. And I said that in the joke of like, that's the earth signs crying. You know, some earth sign got hurt. But thank you for listening to it, man. Yeah, that was my solo show film, man. And it was great to show that more inward discovery of self.
How did that come about? What caused you to really be more introspective in your comedy like that?
Oh, man. Since I've been doing therapy since 2020, because that was when I hit a rock bottom of like being in fights with my previous relationship, ended up in jail a second time for all the things we were doing to each other. They got really bad altercations into the street, and me driving the car, her hopping on top of the hood. Shit got crazy, toxic type relationship that I was in. I take accountability for my actions. You're just in it. You don't even know the isolation, the manipulation, all that. So I was just like, I kept hitting these rock bottoms. I'm like, nah, man, something is up with me. Why do I keep ending up here? So I started therapy 2020, and then that's when my eyes opened up to finding the inner child, and my inner child was abandoned because I have this hole in my heart that where love for my parents should have been inserted, and it never was. So then that put me into this whole like, wait a minute, so if that is for me, then what about them? Like, and then like at, what is this, 38? I was 38 years old, or discovering like for the first time, oh, my parents were human too. Like they were, but they played such the authority figure. You feel me? That still blows my mind as I talk to you right now. I just saw them as, but that's how they held themselves. Lieutenants and like parent. I got everything together, but never seen them as human and kids. And they went through some trauma. I mean, the 60s, you know, King dying and Martin dying, and then racism and jobs and redlining, and then now I got these kids. That's crazy. I can't follow art. So from there, I just kept digging into this inner child and more of the trauma and figuring out what ticks. And then also had a suicide scare. You know, I was in that space, and I had a very dear comic, Von DeCarlo, that got me out of that funk. And then I was able to figure out that inner critic voice where it's like it can take the shame, it can take all the weapons against you, and its job is just to isolate you and you not to be here. You know, so I was able to combat that. So that was another, what I want to call it, another low point in my life, suicide. Like that was like two years ago. Yeah, because after my mom died, and I'm discovering how like, wow, she was the source of the trauma. But then I discovered her trauma, which to give her grace, which is good. But for like a year, she was a villain in my eyes. I was like, wow, I was raised by the Legions of Doom. I was raised by Lex Luthor. But in your eyes as a kid, you think, this is my mom, I love her. But it's like, nah,
Right.
nigga, that's Skeletor, bro. Like,
Skeletor.
I was raised by motherfuckers. I'll never forget two things I talk about in therapy. One, I'll bring to the podcast with you, share with you. My mom would talk to my best friend to find about me, and just act like, what's he doing? What's Nore doing? And my best friend told me what she said about me, and I confronted her. I said, why you talking shit about me behind my back? Because you told my best friend this, that. And then he's like, oh, he's such a bitch for telling me. I'm like, you called my best friend a bitch?
Bitch.
For telling me what you said, my nigga? Like, wow.
How old were you when this happened?
20s, man. Like, late 20s, early 30s. It was that moment, like, bro, oh shit, wow, really? Like, you understand that's my friend. Like, why would my friend not tell me? Like, that's not your friend. And I remember cursing her out. Like, yeah, we had cursing matches, but when so much of that is your normal, you don't see it as trauma. So even to this day, I sit here with you, bro. I'm like, nah, I really went through that. That wasn't normal. None of that was normal, you know? So that was when I realized, nah, man, I'm still into it. I still love it. And that's where this trajectory from the film, and I'm turning into a whole play right now. And I'm excited about it, man, just to get vulnerable and to share this healing journey. It's just shocking.
As you're talking, playing my own relationship with my parents back in my head.
Yeah, man.
And I've had kind of the same arc, kind of where when I was a little kid, you think your parents are superheroes, right? They know everything and they're so smart and like all this stuff. And I think black parents or parents of color do this more than white parents. They play that role. They're like, yeah, we are Superman. You're not an equal. We are superior to you in a lot of ways.
Yep. Control.
And then you get older and you're like, oh, well, some of the shit that they did was fucked up. I don't really understand why they did that. And then you're like, oh, they're not perfect. And then you carry some bitterness about that. And then hopefully you get to a point where you're like, yo, these people were young and dumb and stupid and fucked up and had less resources than we did.
Man.
And in some cases went through worse shit than we did. I mean, my parents aren't from this country, but if your parents grew up during the civil rights movement when shit for black people was like really, really real, that's trauma.
Yes. And we're still in it. And that's where I give our parents that love and grace, Mike. You're right, man. They were fighting racism, and their parents came from the Great Migration. That's even wild to me. Like, I got a story of how my great-great-grandfather, he came on the Great Migration from the South to Philly. And even that whole thing is like, yeah, nah, we got to leave because they killing and lynching niggas down here, and they not giving no justice, bro. We got to go.
Right.
So they leave, and then my great-great-grandfather, he goes back down there because he's so much of a country boy, he could not stand Philly. So that's just a long story to say I don't like Philadelphia.
Wow. Okay.
No, I'm joking. Please don't.
Oh, I was about to say, you got beef with Philly.
That's a joke. That's a joke. No, but like, he's such a country boy. He just could not take the city life of Pennsylvania, Philly. He was not an up north man. And I remember my aunt telling me that story, man. And I do cherish those type of stories, but it also gives me a little insight to like, oh yeah, that's trauma. That's trauma.
It's real trauma. I mean, I could tell you like a similar story about my dad. Like, my dad came from the Caribbean, moved here. I don't think he really had Guyana. Yeah. I don't think he had a real choice in it. Came here when he was a teenager, settled in New York. And I think being in New York was such a traumatic experience for anybody who comes from the island. Like, you in the middle of New York City, they stick you in Times Square, whatever, and your mind must freak the fuck out. And as soon as he got the chance, and it took him probably like 20 years or whatever, he moved down to Georgia because he was like, this city shit, this up north shit, I don't fuck with that.
I love a good country boy, man. That's so funny. Like they so country with it, and I respect it and love that for them. I just really sitting here with you. I just enjoy the grace I have for my parents. I mean, my dad's more chill now, and that's the only parent I got, and I love
Right.
him, but I understand where he's coming from and where his parents were. So I do this like follow the yellow brick road of trauma, and once you do that, you're like, oh shit, you can find the whiz. You know how
Right.
it starts, and I'm just like, I had no fucking idea. Like, and my best friend kind of pretty much has a similar. My best friend that I talked about earlier, like we grew up, DJ Ace. So Ace is the one that my mom called a bitch that you see in that movie. You heard somebody doing ad libs like during my set. That was him.
All
so crazy how, wow, my mom called my best friend a bitch for snitching. And I did the air quotes podcast, people.
Right, because he ain't even snitch.
He was being my friend.
Yeah.
And then so now I can get deep into my mom's psyche and of like, I get that because she was jealous of our union and she never really had that. She wanted to be so involved in my friends. And I never liked that shit. I never understood it, but it was just that type of control, man. Like, I want to know your friends. I want to be there and all that. And it's like, Mom, back the fuck up. So that's yeah, like, chill. Like, these are my homies. And that's the thing with trauma, man. There's so many good moments, but they're flooded with trauma. I can't even remember the good stuff as much, if that makes sense, you know? And,
right.
And then you being a gay black man, Mike, I can't imagine growing up with Caribbean parents, how that was coming up. And you probably had to hide that for a while.
I mean,
or I don't know.
I didn't come out to my family. Like, I'm 48 now. I didn't come out to my family until I was like 35.
Yeah. That's the shit, man. I was talking to Ace earlier, man. I'm doing a show with Michelle Buteau, and it's such a great set. And she has like a lot of LGBT and other actors on the LGBT Actors IA on there, and it's so interesting because their vibe feels like, hey, I'm here for Michelle, no new friends, and I kind of get that because I don't know their life. But it does feel like the people that oppress them look like me. Straight, male, black, or even just straight, you know? And I just hate that those categories that probably even straight people did.
Right.
So the oppressed become more aggressive and want to oppress back. And I get that because they come from oppression. So it's like, fuck, I never know how to combat that with love. Sometimes I just let that happen. Like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, drag queens, everybody. I want everybody to see my shit. I want to see their stuff, too.
I mean, sometimes you got to let it rock. But also, that totally is a defense mechanism. And as a black person, I feel like we can relate to that a little bit because that's the way a lot of us feel around white people. And I have a lot of white friends, but sometimes it's hard to have white friends because this is the oppressor. This is the cop, whatever. So you got to play a little bit of mental gymnastics there. And if you are visibly queer or if you are visibly trans, visibly gay, whatever, there isn't really a safe space for you. So you got to have your head on a swivel. You got to be constantly watching your back unless you are around people who you know are like you.
Amen to that, brother. And that's what exactly I feel. And it's like, damn, I am the ops. I'm the ops. Not that I'm the ops, but
you represent the ops.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, no, it's not like that. I swear I'm cool. I love y'all. I love everybody. But I get it. I don't know where they came from. I have a joke where I talk about that, like where Dave Mazzani, he brought me to this gay club to perform stand-up. And man, that energy was just like clutch pearls.
I didn't know they do stand-up in gay clubs.
Man, the energy was just like, my joke is I felt like a killer whale performing for seals. Like, it's just like, who let this whale in here? And I'm like, hey guys, I like, hey, it's all love, man. I just want to tell jokes. That's it. You know, like, just be. But it was still a great experience. Gay men, they're so judgmental. It's bad women. because they probably grew up with that with their moms. Like,
Right.
there's nothing more
Moms or
judgmental.
aunties or whatever.
Aunties, yep. Anybody in their family, yep. There's nothing more judgmental than an old black angry ass woman. Oh no, it's an old angry woman, man. No, nothing more judgmental, nothing more like I'm gonna tell you about you. Yep, they older and judging and just like bam, bam, bam. And you take them old aunties and you put them in Wildin' Out, ain't nobody gonna survive, man. Nobody gonna survive.
Because they gonna find your shit and pick you apart.
They gonna find it out. You know your dad a crackhead. Oh Lord, auntie.
Send you right off the Wildin' Out stage into therapy.
Yeah, into therapy, just crying. That's trauma too, bro. Because my apartment is there. Right now, I'm crashing at my boy's crib and just save up and everything. Save up. But rent is so bad. It's unlivable in New York.
I mean, New York is crazy.
And New York is insane. Where are you casting from?
I'm in Brooklyn.
Oh, no. Yeah. Okay, you're in New York too. Yeah. Like, ooh, it's disgusting. So anyway.
It's like, how do people live?
Yeah, so I moved out that whole trauma story of her on the car, me driving her over, me getting arrested for that because that was a hit and run, and I got charged for that. But they saw the tape, and the tape was like, yeah, nah, my nigga's trying to get away. But I had to move out that apartment, and that was 2020, and that started my whole therapy and unpacking everything you heard, and even so much more. I mean, inner child, inner critic. Loving thyself. I think right now in therapy, I'm starting to recognize that who I am, the celebrity of it. But how do you know if you're a celebrity if you've been in stuff when you don't see yourself as that? You know, it's nah. You're Nore. You're funny. You were in this movie. Yeah, but my parents ain't. Nobody in my family said they liked it. So how do I even trust you? So, now I have to reconfigure my thoughts of, no, I got to trust these people because then I'm insulting them for giving me a compliment, you know? It took me a long time to accept that and accept compliments. And grew up like hood adjacent, but the emotional tyranny, man. I didn't realize at the time that this was oppressing and isolation, manipulated, yelling, so much yelling. My mom's yell would make me cry before the beating, man. I hate it. I would rather the beatings than her yelling at me. Like that yelling, that rage. And then if I even backtrack to that, it was like my grandfather, who I'm named after, who died when I wasn't even born, died during my mom was young. But he was a janitor. He was an alcoholic. He was the janitor from Abbott Elementary, but shameless.
Mr. Johnson?
Yeah, but shameless, and goes home and beats his wife.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So I ain't know went through that, and my grandmother and my aunt used to fight him and shit. He would scream all the time, but not at my mom. But I connected that in therapy, like, oh, that's where she picked up her rage. So everything is influenced, everything is taught. So if it's taught, then it can be untaught. You know, it can be unwired. So this whole healing thing, even when I get to the 40s and 50s, I'm still excited about unwinding the trauma of me and my thought process of how I see myself and where I belong in this world, so I can be happy, right? Like
that's everybody's goal.
Do you want to be happy?
But it's like, being able to unwrap this shit is such a gift because so many people die miserable because they haven't come to terms with the trauma that they've inherited or put on themselves or put on others or whatever. That literally, and it's science, takes years off of your life.
Mike, let's bust it down, man. That's one of my biggest fears of why I want to be happy and healed. I do not want to die alone like my mom. I do not. I saw that. She just looking in my eyes like, what? I want to go home. I want to go home. Looking at me like I'm her husband. And my aunt, delusional. I remember those moments, man. It's just so painful because, and I always suggested therapy a little bit, but, you know, her generation, like, what's that?
Therapy? Therapy's for white people.
Yep. I got Jesus. I got church. And I'm fine. But she wasn't. But even at the time, I wasn't even in therapy too. So I'm suggesting some shit I don't even know. I just think like something's something's up, mom. Cause she just kept running and running, like moving. Then I learned that in therapy too, of like some people are just not able to sit with themselves. Cause they sit with themselves, then they're reminded, or the critic, the voice is just loud. So they got to keep moving to distract themselves. And sometimes I still get like that now, like, oh, I gotta do this podcast and let me go do another spot and let me go write this. And then my body's like, nigga, we tired. We're not doing any of that. Yep. So go ahead, you go do that.
It's like the saying goes, you can't hide from yourself because no matter where you look, there you are. It's the same thing. You can't run from yourself because eventually all the shit is going to catch up with you.
Oh, no, that trauma is always there, man. Matter of fact, it's what you need to understand and unravel. And that's my life's work, man. So 2020, that therapy, I read a lot of bell hooks. I read a lot of, what's my girl name? Toni Morrison. I was just reading a lot of Black authors and getting to love. And I think bell hooks really tapped into that, like all about love, man. Love is so anti-capitalism, anti-Christianity, I think.
Really is.
Therapy is anti-Christianity, so that's really not America's formula, but that's how how it's so easy to pound it out. And if we can just get back to the love, man. And then my other projects, it's always going to be coming from a stem of like, hey, here's my healing journey. If you get it. And it's just so cool. It attracted you to my art. And it's just like, yes, more people like you, man. Because I feel like if we just keep building this community and seeing people that want to talk about it, I think that's amazing. It causes healing. So, yeah, people don't die alone and just be happy. Like, none of this is fucking normal, Mike. Nope. None of this. Nope. We just going around like it is. Like,
right. We acting like it's normal.
Yeah, we acting like it's normal. And that's one thing I do like about astrology, where it's like you do kind of see a little bit of your makeup and kind of your purpose. Like, if you're air, if you're wood, it brings it back to this mother nature feeling of you are this mammal on this planet and you are within this earth sign. So yeah, you solid, you firm. You the air sign, you wishing around. But you're a water sign, you strong with it. Or you're a fire sign, you fiery with that shit. You gonna burn shit up. We all have a task and we can all see how we can help each other and also help the earth and universe to be better. Universe, God, whatever. I mean, that's all ego and control, right. I believe. But yeah, man, it's just amazing, like, to do this type of work. And I can talk about it forever, man. And I also love to hear other people's stories too. And it's not trauma dumping, it's trauma sharing.
It's connecting.
It's connecting. Like, okay. Love that.
And that's why I do this. It's like, if you put somebody in a room and you talk to them and you allow them to just tell their story, everybody's got a story. Even the people who may seem like the most boring, best, well-adjusted person in the world, they got a story. And they got shit that makes them unique and different that is worth sharing. So other unique, different people going through the same thing can be like, oh, I see or I hear myself in that.
Yes. Yep.
And that's been so important to me.
Oh, Mike, it's so important. And then I also do give grace to, like, we can only showcase our healing because we have to act. We can't not ignore how scary it is. It's very scary. Like, I even see my aunt struggle with it of going back to that trauma or even trying to go to therapy or even try to figure it out. Like, no, it's fine. Forget it. Move forward. You know, we're in villain era. Like, villains are up. Villains are up. People act like villains don't have fans. Like, hey, would you want to heal and be happy, or would you want to just fuck your trauma and continue to hurt people? Shout out Team Joker, Team Homelander. I'm Team Megatron, Team Skeletor, Team all of them.
Keep going back to Skeletor, man.
Skeletor is one of my greatest enemies, man. He's so funny, man. He is dope. Masters of the Universe. That's shit. Right. Oh man, we both through. Oh man, I yeah. Well, let's define nerd. Blurb.
I mean, I have says blurb.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Oh my god, I love that. Yeah. All right. So now podcast, you can't hear us podcast, but we're showing tattoos. I got my Ninja Turtle.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. I got Raphael. I got the Hulk over here. I got Kirby.
That's what's up.
I love tattoos. Tattoos to me are just creative cutting.
Wow, I've never heard it said like that before.
Yeah, man. There's a couple tattoos where I just got because I just need to feel something because I didn't.
Right.
But make it art.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. You're putting a message on your body, and for me, it's just kind of like meditative. It's like you're sitting
Mm,
somewhere for an hour and then putting something on your skin permanently,
yeah,
because it means something to you.
yeah,
You
man.
know,
I like the pain, but the pain's not even pain. It's how can I describe this? Yeah, creative cutting, cutting to my skin, but we're making a statement. We're making art. Where I'm expressing myself, but I'm also feeling like, yeah,
it's
I'm
something
not.
that's going to be a part of you forever.
Yeah, this is a mark. It's like a branding, you know, like yeah,
Yeah,
brand.
kind of.
Like when them sororities do those horseshoe branding, like yeah, brand me, nigga, down with
Yep,
this, and you
yep.
know it's that loyalty. So it's like this loyalty agreement to yourself, and then very very inner child. Like I got Afro samurai sword. Yeah, very inner child of me. And I didn't realize that's what that was because my inner child was abandoned. When she told me that, I just bust down crying right there in therapy because I never knew there was a little nigga inside me. I never knew. I left him and I know where I left him and I found him. And so that's also what Element represents too. Like my inner child, we coming together and performing because I never did that before. Oh, he would come out. And when I mean come out, that's a metaphor when like literally have fun, like not caring about the results, not worrying about where I'm going. Just, isn't this funny? Hey, isn't this funny? Isn't this funny? And it's not even coming from a place of pain. It's coming from a place of childish of like, oh, don't you like this? Don't you like this? Like when kids, I
Like
just
a
love
place of
being,
innocence.
oh man, yeah, that place of innocence. And then that's why I did stand up because that's where I connected with my inner child. That's when we're both like entwined and we're having so much fun and we're loving everything and don't have to worry about the inner critic like, oh man, look what you're wearing. Oh, my drive for so long was to prove my mom I can do this. And then that's where the rock bottom came of suicide. Because when she died, it's like, so then what? Why am I here? And I had to reconfigure. I mean, I can describe suicide. I always like to be open about it because I remember it's really that very sensitive moment of where the inner critic got you. And it's like, you know where your dad gun at. He's a retired cop. You know where it's at.
Oh
You ain't
wow.
got to do this, bro. Why? Why? Mom ain't here. The girl you date now, she doesn't understand the feeling. She doesn't understand your grieving. Nobody
So
likes you. Nobody loves you. You got low follow. There's no engagement. You're not even famous. It knows exactly what to say, and it pounds it on, and then it just takes that one moment to go. Apple force quit. No, Apple shut down, and then
right,
go go
right.
get the gun, and I'm out of here so I can quiet it.
When did you
When
get
I
to a point where you were like, okay, I can't do this.
can't do what?
Can't go through
Okay,
with it.
so yeah, that same evening of tears pouring down my cheeks, man, and you ever see cartoons where darkness engulfs you, but then some of your body parts are left in the light? So it's like
Yep.
all the way to my wrist, the hand was in the light, and I reached for my phone. I text DJ Ace and I text Vaughn. I text my therapist. She couldn't get back to me. DJ Ace couldn't get back to me. And then Vaughn, she called me immediately and then she talked me off the ledge. And even to this day, Vonda Carla, comic, look her up. She's so funny. She saved my life. I still credit her to this day forever. She saved my fucking life because I was ready to do it. And then she just convinced me, like, you're so loved. You have a purpose. You're here for a reason. And if I would have went through with that, there wouldn't be Element. There wouldn't be this. There wouldn't be these great projects I have coming down the line. It's like, oh man, I was ready to leave. Mike, my whole fucking purpose was just to prove to that woman I can do it. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. That's all it was. It was
But you
more
know
than that.
what's also crazy though is that you can identify that. You can be like, that was my purpose. Because I think a lot of people
Yeah.
if their mom passed, they'd be like, why is this sitting with me like this? I don't understand. So to have the emotional intelligence to be like, wow, I was doing this for her. And
Yeah,
then
yeah. Emotional intelligence. Thank you. That's what me and DJs call it. To have this emotional intelligence, it's one of the beautiful things that's not talked about versus common sense, street smarts, and also book smarts. That
yep,
emotional intelligence, and I understand like, okay, you're a triple Taurus or you're a triple Virgo. You have no water in you. You can't get in tune with your emotions, but nigga, you do feel something. And if you feel something, that means there's something wrong. And then it's just like, I wish my mom had that and things would be happy. And then it's just like looking at my origin of like, fuck, man, I came from so much pain. And my poor dad, I think of him. I'm not going to talk about his because he's alive, but I know his origin story. And then so I'm able to give him grace. And I talk about that in Element where it's like a little boy in you, a little girl, a little they, them, how you identify, just wants to be hugged and loved. That's it. But they don't have it because they never had it.
had it
That
right.
took, that took me so long to gripe with. You know, I just had to keep repeating it to myself because the inner critic will use it. See, he don't love you. Yeah, you have a whole movie. He don't even care about it. Well, he does care, but he's caring in his own way. Or matter of fact, he can't even do it. How about that? Like, I have the joke. Like, Siri, open my car door. Siri's like, nigga, I don't do that. I'm not even connected to your car. It's that with our parents, and especially Caribbean parents or black, yeah, like, or Japanese or Asian, Southeast
Asian
Indian,
parents, yep.
you know,
Indian
Asian,
parents, yep.
very anybody that's not even Caucasian, English. None of this shit is normal. It's not coming from love. All this rent is all coming from conquering power. And none of that brings unity. None of that brings equality. It just brings control. And it's like, I hate it, man.
And you know what? It might be coming from love, but it's coming from like a misunderstanding of
Mm,
what love actually is. I talked
hmm
about this to my therapist too. When I was growing up, I got my ass beat. I feel like maybe younger folks didn't necessarily get the belt, but
hmm
I got the belt, I got the wooden spoon, I got the motherfucking wet washcloth, I got all that shit.
all
And
of it.
if you were to ask my elders, they'd be like, well, we were beating him out of love, or we were beating him to protect him from what society was going to give him.
Yeah,
But if you stop and think about that, you're just reenacting slave owners' behavior.
that's it. The oppressed are going to oppress.
Yes. Yeah.
And so the ones that are oppressed, they're going to oppress their children. And it's just this generational, just this tumbleweed. And it blows my mind. And then the way they do use exposition, and it's what white people did back in the day. Like, hey man, you got to give this up. That's what Jesus wants. That's what
Right.
God. Fear is such a good control, man. And I get it because if there's no option of therapy or you don't even believe it, feels like the devil or whatever, then you give yourself to God, right? And when you're giving yourself to God, you're not looking in, you're giving.
Right.
You're looking out, you're not looking in. And that's my only gripe with religion. But if it makes people a good person, no doubt, do whoever your God is, because I'm also on that kick. I ain't trying to judge you. Everybody's on their own journey, but
Yeah.
never be scared to look within, look back, follow that yellow brick road of trauma, baby. It is right there. And this is what they want, man. They want that fear. They want you to that's what gripe my with religion. Like, wait a minute, y'all giving me anxiety about if I act this way that you want and I'll get into heaven, and if I don't, I'm in hell. That's wild. You giving me anxiety before I die. Anxiety about death is crazy to me because
Yeah.
like I'm not living if I'm worrying about death. I'm not
That's
living if I'm
absolutely
worrying.
true.
I'm not living if I'm worrying about if I do this, am I going to go to heaven? And I get it. It's a very good, I guess, plain. That's the word that came to me right now, but I know it's not that. Like plain is a very simple way to control the sheep. I'll say it's very
Yep. It
simple.
is.
Like
I mean,
very
organized
elementary.
religion is a controlling device.
Yes. And it's man, Mike, is like so I see all that and then you see other people, so then I come from that like rescuer. I was the people pleaser rescuer, but I'm doing that to receive love. Like, hey, I'm giving you this, I'm giving all that. And that sucks, man. So if I do that for you, then that means I love you. So it's more like that codependent shit. I had to stop that too. It's a weird addiction, man. It's not a codependence. It's more of proving to my mom I can do this, proving to my mom I can find a wife and all this stuff. Just proving to this lady that, hey, look, do you see me? Right. You see me, right? And that's just all from inner child Nore of a lack of. I can't remember it. There's some stuff, I don't know if you've ever been in therapy, there's some stuff in the dark locker, and it's like, and it won't let you go back there. Like, what's back there? Hey, man, you're not doing that. And the critic, like, nope, you're not going back there. And the child, like, nope, no.
It's your brain trying to protect you from something.
There you go. Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Because I've been in therapy off and on for a number of years, and there is a part of me, I swear to God, that is like, there is something that's like, it's like when something is on the tip of your tongue and you can't figure out exactly what it is you're about to say, but it's there. There's something in my brain that needs to be unlocked, and it's right at the edge of the door. But I can't figure out exactly what it is. And it's just like you said, I think my brain is maybe trying to protect me from something.
Oh, I never thought about that too. Thank you. That maybe that's what it is. It's like, no, don't touch that. But I'm such a emotional curist. I'm like, wait, what's back there? And why won't you let me? When then I just ease and chill, don't rush it, and it might come to me. But I just think of the video game The Last of Us, when you go down into like the depths of the zombies, but they have the lockers and the trauma's there. It's in those lockers, but you can't open them because it's not a functional playing part of the game. Right. But I know it's in there, man. And so, yeah, this is my life's work, man. Element, and then I got other projects coming out, and then the play. This is my bell hooks, man. I love how she did. I love how Toni Morrison. I love how when people just leave work for the next generation or anybody who wants to heal, because we're really in this huge tank of barrel. People think just black people in this barrel. It's like, no, we're all in this capitalist barrel. Even the rich, even the middle class, even the wealthy. You know, people love Game of Thrones. And then you don't see no poor people with dragons. The fuck? Poor people can't have dragons. Poor people.
Money don't get you. It does not get you out of slavery. It actually kind of makes you more enslaved because you got to keep making that dollar.
Yes. So capitalism is just a derivative of slavery. Just easy ways for white people, British, to have control of people lesser than them. And then also white people themselves, middle class whites. And that's the thing that I remember, but I felt like when I read about the 60s and 70s, like Malcolm X, Martin, and Fred Hampton, and Carmichael, they were all, and Rosa, even all the women, they were on the tip of like, oh shit, nah, y'all made poor white people be superior in us, so they entered supremacy. And they was bunking all of that, man. And that was the social media back in the day. So it's like, yeah, kill. And with social media right now, it's a casino, right? Like, first of all, you can't sell your product in this casino and say your ass on the slots. When I came up through stand-up and I did those casino gigs, Mike, man, oof. The people, man. My heart pours for the people. Even like Ace's aunts, and he tell me those stories of how they're in the casinos and they just gambling. And that's another big addiction. It's kind of like alcohol too. Like, you're not going to get rid of it, but it's on your phone. The people that can't handle it, they're bitches, they're pussies. So now here comes the patriarchy. You weak, shame, weak. But none of that is right. And even money's made up. What are we talking about? And then I get in there, bro. When I get in that pool and I start swimming, I'm like, all of this is made up. All of it is a lot of people that just don't have control. And even if they did have the control, they wouldn't even know what to do with it. It's like, why can't you just lighten up on the taxes, lighten up on the real estate? Why are we fighting over land? Why are we killing over land?
If you stop and really think about it, it makes no sense.
You stop and think about it. It's cold. Like, ooh, I need a jacket, man. Winterfell just pulled up on this podcast. Winterfell just pulled up. That's how cold they are, man.
So, how do you? You're already doing it, but how do you help other people heal the way that you're healing?
Be present. You can only control right now, right? And time is definitely a construct. I feel like some earth sign made time and made schedules. Like, we need to go here, here, here. Fine. Need schedules. People need things to do. But I always say, be present. You can't control what's behind you. You can't control what's coming. All you can do is just be present. And I'm not that type of be present, meditate. I'm here right now talking to you, enjoying you. And that's all that fucking matters. That's the best way to do it. And yeah, protect your peace. Just being present.
I love that. Oh man, I love that so much.
Be in peace, man.
I want to get a fucking protect your peace t-shirt.
Woo! Protect your peace against family, against friends, against everybody, especially family too, man, because we're taught so much that family here is loving and thicker than blood is thicker than water. And it's just like, yeah, well, it's not thicker than my peace. So
I was reading this article recently. I think it was in the Times or whatever. I should just find it. The article was like, more people are disconnecting from their family than ever before. Some people are just like, I'm cutting you off. And they were exploring why people are doing that. And there's this doctor guy who's like, yo, just because you're related to somebody by blood doesn't mean that they're going to be your people.
Yes. That's what I'm starting to get into my play about. And it's just so fascinating. And you really inspire me like, okay, there will be an audience to watch this. But if you told me my parents were reptiles, and I get it. Okay. I'm a fucking turtle, right? They drop you off at the sand and they put the egg and then they swim away. And I'm like, okay, I'm on the sand by myself. Survive shit, right? Got it.
Right.
But no, you keep showing me Family Matters. You keep showing me Full House. My family don't even fucking look like that. I don't get it. Why I don't feel like that? Why I don't look like that? I don't get it. So you feel like you're going against society, but society keeps saying family, family. You know, there's Sopranos, and then especially Black, and then all the TV shows, movies. It's just all these references, what's going on. Even gay love. Oh, I think it was this movie with, who was the main Black guy in Pose?
Billy Porter?
Billy Porter. He was in the movie with this other actor, and I saw it on one of my, I think it was on another streaming service, but it's something like that. I thought America was this melting pot, but it's not. Y'all lying.
It's not.
It's not. Y'all lying. I want to see this diversity, man. I love the diversity of everybody's art. So, yeah, man. So that's why that article is just so inspirational, too. Because, yeah, people are realizing, like, nah, these motherfuckers that I'm related to are human. And just because they made me doesn't mean I have to be affiliated with them. You know, yeah, that don't get it twisted. I love my aunts. I love my mom. I love my family. Well, I feel like I was born in the Legion of Doom, and I got away. You know, like you get to the meeting.
You can also love somebody from a distance.
Yes, yes. You know the Penguin and Joker, they gassed up Gotham City. You're like, yeah, I know, but I got work today, so I can't really. I hope they okay.
Yeah,
Penguin, like, you going to the family reunion? Nah, nigga, I'm not going.
Nah.
I love y'all.
I got one coming up too, and I know I'm gonna start getting texts and calls and be like, "Oh, you're not coming? No."
I ain't gonna hide, but I ain't gonna lie. I would have went, but I was on tour. I couldn't make it because now I'm at a point where I'm able to be there, and the emotional maturity helps me to understand how people are and not take offense to it. Let it trigger me, like, oh, this is how they are. What's that famous Maya Angelou? When the people show you who they are, believe them.
Believe them.
I never knew what that meant for a while, and it's just like, oh, they're showing you this, but then your people pleasing would pick in, like, that's okay. Let me give them another chance. It's like, nah, nigga, they showing you. They're your family, your friends. Or even if they are your family and friends, like, no, man, that's who that person is. And there's no title, right, Mike? Like the title of mom, the title of dad, the title of grandma. That definition is so screwed. because the definition of what it says is not matching how you're supposed to act during it.
Right.
Even son, daughter, what the fuck, uncle. And so many people go through so much pain and rape, molestation, and trauma, beatings. Oh my God. And the title on them is dad, mom, so much more. It's like, whoa, the fuck?
And it fucks people up.
Yes.
It fucks people up because that word holds so much value, so much emphasis is on mom, dad, and you're supposed to love these people. But when these people do things to hurt you or do things to mess you up or whatever it is, then you're like, okay, on one hand, I got to feel this love, this feeling towards these people, but I don't even know if I like this person. So it fucks your head up. It's a mind fuck.
I don't like this love. But then we think, all right, this is love though, because they're my mom. So this is normal for me. And then that's where the self-healing goes. So I tell people, man, be present. And if it doesn't feel right, you are 102% correct. It's not right.
Trust your instinct.
Trust your instinct. And if you don't have no instinct, just trust that if you don't feel happy, then you want to feel the opposite of that. You want to feel happy, right?
Right.
But it might be cutting off that person. It might be stopping that relationship, you know? It sucks because then it's also against a rock and a hard place. What's the circumstances? What's the stakes? Oh, am I married to this person? Or then we have these kind of kids? Or I don't want to be alone. Those stakes start coming in. Then it's like, I can endure the abuse. I'm not no punk. That's abandonment. That's abandoning your inner child. So that's the instinct in. That's the inner child saying, no, I don't like this. And your adult self like, nah, we good. I love this person. We fine. And you abandon yourself. And then that's it. That's it. Once you lose your inner child or you don't know where to find them, because then you have soldiers. And so now we have the police and we have army, all of them, right? That the boot camps or that the inner child's ripped out because they need soldiers. They need to say, go in their house, bomb, murder everybody. And even if it's women, child, like, yeah, the soldier inner child gone, bro. Like, I'm loyal to my country.
You know,
that's wild to me. So
it is wild. But you know, the crazy thing is it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about fear, right?
Yeah.
If you in a bad relationship, the thing that keeps you from leaving that relationship is the fear of being alone, or maybe the fear of not trusting yourself, feeling like you're going to make a mistake. And you know what? Maybe there's going to be a hard part in the middle of that, but what's on the other side of that fear is freedom. But some people are so afraid to be free that they're going to tolerate a shitty situation just because they don't want to have to get to the real hard part where they have to deal with themselves.
Let's bust that down. Afraid to be free, or the fear is too huge. Don't even know they're scared. They don't even know there's another option. They don't even know. Like, if you don't see it, then how do you even know there's an option? And that's what's so cool about the healing, especially if you give yourself. And I don't want this to be not one, but it's not like we're saying to the listeners like pro therapy. We're saying I'm so pro like just looking inward and looking back, studying your past, and then able to recognize it, understand it, and then once you fully understand it, and take your time with this, but also give grace because they didn't have it. Like if a motherfucker was raised by Wolverines and then had the Wolverine, then yeah, you gonna be Wolverine too. That's just how that goes. 2 + 2 = 2.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about that. I'm not pro therapy. I'm pro good therapy, but I'm also pro self-awareness. I'm pro critical thinking, and those are things that you can achieve without a therapist.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I got your stance. So my stance, I'm pro looking inward, and for me, therapy helped me with that. But whatever you need to do to get there, that's what I'm for. Because even therapy is a relationship. That's kind of saying like, hey, you gotta go get married. You gotta go find somebody. Even finding a good therapist is hard. Like I I heard stories of black men and my boys like, yeah, my therapist is white girl. I ain't like that or blah blah blah. So people have bad experiences. It's like dating. It's another dating thing, you know, and that's hard too. So I say don't give up on it, but I definitely say if you keep on that verge of manifesting and wanting to discover more inward, you're on the right path. You will find that therapist or that doctor. You will find somebody to lead you to one, and you'll get there. So it's all about please look inward and not look out, man. Please, because that's my life's work, and none of this shit is normal. And we need to have this emotional maturity and understand it to survive and to be happy while we're living. We don't know what's over there. But I remember my mom died, and a week later, she came to me in my dream. It was so weird, man. A woman that's just yelling and always calling me, always seeing how I'm doing, always wanting to talk. And then radio silence is crazy to me. Like, my nigga, you dead. Like, you can't send a text. You can't send nothing from over there. Like, God, Jesus, whoever can't say, yo, we got your mom. She cool. Don't worry. Like, the confirmation that, like, when you go to college and you're like, I'm here at the dorms. Word, that's all I need to hear. Thank you, baby. Like, we don't get that with death. So when she came to me, man, it was just, she was flying. She was floating from the knees down, didn't see anything, just floating. She was floating and laughing. And I was just crying in my dreams, man, just crying. I was so happy to see her. And she was like, yeah, I knew I was going to die. I knew, but I'm sorry I wasn't able to express that. But I'm okay. I'm good. She was smiling, and there was some other spirits behind her. And she said, I got to go, but you're going to be good. And then she floated away, man. I woke up crying, and she floated. So that's what it is. For me, I just feel like when we pass, we're free from this world, and we're able to fly and give energy to people that we want, or energy to the world or the universe, whatever. And there's no that pearly gates, none of this good, bad. It's just like you're free from this. You're free.
I love that.
I even have a theory that this is hell, and we're alive trying to make it not hell. And then when we die, we're free.
I have heard that many times before.
Yeah,
and I think that's to me that's logical.
Right? It's logical, but also it just feels right, and it just takes away the fear from dying. Like, I can't control that. If I can control it if I like inflict it on myself, like addiction or, you know, murder or jail, some shit. But when I'm just living to be happy, to live a good life, and to make the world better and the people around me better, and give a message to this world, celebrity or fucking not, just to put out some good work that hopefully influences others, just to have that purpose. Because we are not turtles that were born in the sand, Mike. We were not turtles that hatched out of the sand. We are mammals that have the high Q of evolution of sexuality, gender, and love. We can do that.
We are capable of leaving a legacy. Like when my grandmother died in 2019, I was like, her body's dead, but there's all these people that got some piece of wisdom from her, or she helped in some way or whatever. And that's how you live on. You live on through the people that you touch.
Yes. Yeah. And even us making this art, making this recording, somebody can hear this and be like, oh, shit, I never heard two black men or two men talk like this before. Like, I don't even hear that. It's either like Joe Rogan, boxing, aggression, and even gay black men like you. Where y'all at, man? I just keep seeing the gay white guys. I'm tired of them.
Where we at?
I get
there's
it,
there's at least one podcast out there that's all gay black men that talks about stuff similar to this. So I'm forgetting the name of it. I'm gonna have to shout them out. I'll shout them out in the notes afterwards or something like that.
No, I mean just like where they hang out at, like community stuff like that. Because we always feel like we have to keep ourselves small and friend or foe, right? So always on this fear, anxiety, this defense, as you said, keeping your head on this level.
And I think a lot of it is defense. You know, that's why people who come from the same background or look alike or have queerness in common, whatever, hang out together, because you're supposed to be safest when you're with your own people. I don't think that's always the case, because a wolf can come in sheep's clothing. But I do think that people kind of self-select people who are most like them to spend regular time around. And why you don't encounter maybe more queer black men in your regular life, because queer black men are hanging out with other queer black men. And I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that's wrong.
Yeah,
Most of the people that I personally hang out with are straight. But,
got you.
you know, for some people, the trauma is so real that they can't really expand their circle to include people who might not be safe for them.
You're right, man. And it's really about that safe space, right? And I totally understand that. I hate this straight people terror that they cause and not even doing anything to fix it. And It's just more divide, which this country or even the world loves because it's easy to control and pin them against each other. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
fuck,
we thrive on conflict.
When can we get back to the melting pot and just sharing and loving and taking turns through like barter system, man? I love my daughter's bartering system, man. Like, she don't even need lunch money. Like, yo, let me get Oreos and Takis because I'm gonna get some earrings for that, and I'm gonna get some Capri Suns for that too. And I'm like, got you. I'll take you to Bodega and get you all the bartering currency you need.
Oh shit!
It's beautiful. Let's go back to bartering. Like, yeah, you borrow my apartment, I borrow your lot. All right, here we go.
Right. I want to give a special heartfelt shout out to Nore for bearing his soul and opening up, talking about some hard shit to talk about, which is kind of what we do on this show. But anybody who comes in and does so with an open heart and an open mind, I hope you get something out of it. You can find Nore online at noredavis.com. You can also find him on Instagram at Nore Davis. That is at NoreDavis. Once again, Element, a solo film show, is streaming online at noredavis.com. Go there, you pay $5, you get the film for your lifetime. You can watch it as many times and rewatch it as many times as you want. Highly, highly recommend. And obviously, you can also follow Nore around the country doing stand-up dates, and you can get his tour itinerary and all that other good stuff. Anyway, thank you, Nore, for appearing on the show. I hope this isn't the last time. And thank you to Josh Gondelman for recommending Nore to be on the show. I really, really appreciate both of y'all. Thanks again. Thank you for listening to Detoxicity. I hope you found this particular episode interesting. And if you are new, I hope you go back and listen to all of the older episodes. Once again, my name is Mike Joseph. I am the host and producer of this show. And there are a lot of things that you can do to continue to support our mission, continue to support this podcast. Follow me on social media. I am on Instagram, Twitter, and I'm on TikTok as DetoxPod Guy. You can also send me an email if you'd like. I'm at detoxpod@gmail.com. I am always on the hunt for people with interesting, inspirational, and powerful stories. So if you know somebody who fits that bill, or if you yourself fit that bill, please don't hesitate to drop me a line via email or via social media. Please make sure you subscribe on your podcast platform that you're listening to this on. Rate, comment, help a brother out, help us move up in the rankings. Follow me on social media. Like I said, follow our Patreon, or subscribe to my Patreon, actually. Patreon.com/detoxicitypod. You get access to exclusive episodes. You get episodes a little earlier than the general public. You get a cool ass sticker, lots of stuff. Once again, patreon.com/detoxicitypod. Quick shout out to Calvin Williams for providing the music and doing his magic on the logo, which was originally designed by Jacob Block. I thank you all for listening. I wish you all the best. Please take care of each other. Till next time, peace.